We have reached the finals match. This contest features East Rankin Academy and Brandon High School. East Rankin Academy is currently undefeated in the competition, so if they win this finals match, then East Rankin Academy will be named the champion of this year's competition. However, if Brandon High wins this finals match, it will be the first loss for East Rankin Academy, and a grand finals match will be played between these two teams to determine the tournament champion. Let's meet the teams.
Will Price, East Rankin Jr.
Baron Burnham, East Rankin Senior.
Dylan Davis, East Rankin Sophomore.
Elijah Moore, East Rankin Senior.
Aiden Adams, Brandon High School Junior.
Lindsay Patrick, Brandon High School Senior.
Joseph Bailey, Brandon High School Senior.
Owen Wolf, Brandon High Jr.
Harvinder Singh, Brandon High School Senior.
Daniel Bailey, Brandon High School Freshman.
We'll start with a toss-up for 5 points. Which word beginning with the letter D designates a maiden or an old-fashioned girl?
Brandon High, Aiden.
Dame.
No.
And is often used preceding the words in distress.
East Rankin Will.
Damsel.
Yes.
For 20 points, identify the fiber optic surgical instrument whose name begins with the letter L, used to detect diseases within the abdomen or pelvis and for minimally invasive surgery.
Brandon High, Lindsay.
Luminoscope.
No.
Time. The answer is laparoscope. For 10 points, the eastern box, snapping, and loggerhead are all.
Brandon High, Lindsay.
Turtle.
Yes.
For 15 points, which American composer used words taken from the speeches of Abraham Lincoln in his 1942 A Lincoln Portrait for narrator and orchestra?
East Rankin, Barron.
Copeland.
Yes.
For 20 points, it's a math question. The first term of a geometric series is 3/4, while the fourth term is 6. Find the sum of the second and third terms of this sequence.
No. Brandon High, Owen.
4.
No.
No answer from East Rankin?
East Rankin, Elijah.
5.
No.
It's 4.5. For 5 points, identify the first Hispanic justice of the United States Supreme Court.
Brandon Joseph.
Sotomayor.
Yes.
For 20 points, which 3-word idiom meaning unacceptable or outside the bounds of society's rules and morality refers to a territorial part of.
East Rankin, Will.
Beyond the pale.
Yes.
For 10 points, it's a math question. What number do you get when you add 3 plus 2i to its conjugate?
Brandon High, Lindsay.
6.
Yes.
For 20 points, which English duke and general said the Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Eton?
East Rankin, Will.
Duke of Wellington.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify the 6-word proverb including the word gold, meaning that things.
East Rankin, Barron.
All that glitters is not gold.
Yes.
For 10 points, name the English seaport with the famous white cliffs.
East Rankin, Will.
Dover.
Yes.
For 15 points, name the French composer of the 1928 orchestral work Bolero. His surname appears in the word traveling. Time, it's Maurice Ravel. For 20 points, identify the state in which the world's first nuclear-powered submarine, the.
Brandon High, Owen.
Washington.
No.
The USS Nautilus is now docked at Groton.
East Rankin, Will.
California.
No.
It's Connecticut. For 10 points, which Latin phrase, literally meaning according to value, is used to designate a certain assessment of taxes or duties levied on a property as a percentage of its value.
East Rankin, Elijah.
Per capita.
No.
No answer from Brandon. It's ad valorem. You'll need a pencil for this next one. It's worth 5 points. In which quadrant are sine x and cosine x both negative?
East Rankin will.
Third quadrant.
Yes.
For 10 points, in November 2018, George H.W. Bush, former U.S. President, Congressman, Ambassador, and Director of Central Intelligence, died. What was his presidential number?
East Rankin will.
41.
Yes.
For 5 points, identify the chemical element in the air and in a person's skin that reacts with the silver in jewelry to produce a black substance called tarnish.
East Rankin, Elijah.
Oxygen.
No. Brandon High, Lindsay.
Nitrogen.
No.
The answer was sulfur, and that's the end of round 1. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. At the end of round 1, the score is East Rankin 95, Brandon High 25. Let's start round 2 with a toss-up for 20 points. Who was a professor of physics at a German university when on November 8, 1895, while experimenting with cathode rays, he discovered X-rays, leading Antoine-Henri Becquerel to further study them and chance upon the radioactivity phenomenon while doing so?
Brandon High, Lindsay.
Schrodinger.
No.
No answer. It's Rankin. A toss-up for 10 points. What 2-word name did medieval legend give to the cup, chalice?
Brandon High, Aiden.
Holy Grail.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following concerning the word naval. For 5 points, Sir Francis Drake was the second to command a voyage that circumnavigated the earth and the first commander of a ship to live to complete the trip. What was the name of his ship? We need an answer.
Golden Stag.
No.
No.
The half moon.
No.
It's the Golden Hind. It's very close. All right, and we're back to a toss-up. For 10 points, it's a math question. What is the length in simplified form of the diagonal of a square with side 5 decimeters?
Brandon High, Lindsay.
5 square roots of 2 decimeters.
Yes.
Here's your bonus questions. Answer each of the following concerning the word title. For 5 points, what title is given to the eldest male heir to the throne of Great Britain?
Heir apparent.
Prince of Wales.
Heir apparent.
Heir apparent.
No. East Rankin.
Prince of Wales.
Yes.
All right, and we go back to a toss-up for 10 points. Former CIA operative E. Howard Hunt, who died at age 88 in 2007, was known for having pleaded guilty in the conspiracy to stage a break-in at which D.C. complex?
East Rankin will.
Watergate.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify the address of each of the following residences. For 5 points, the White House, home of the President of the United States.
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yes.
For 10 points, home of the Prime Minister of England.
10 Downing Street.
Yes.
For 15 points, home of the Chancellor of the Exchequer of England.
It's 11 Downing Street.
11 Downing Street.
Yes.
And for 20 points, residence of the Prime Minister of Canada.
23 Sussex.
Sussex.
It's Sussex, I think.
23 Sussex.
No.
23 Sussex.
No.
Brandon High.
Anyone?
Maple Leaf Road. 4 Maple Leaf Road. Okay. This is the number. Say something.
The house numbers.
No answer.
It's 24 Sussex Drive. We have a toss-up for 10 points. The phenomenon known as El Niño brings a pool of warm water to South America, distorting the pattern of fast-flowing air above North America. By what two-word name is this west to east stream of fast-flowing air that airplanes take advantage of known?
East Rankin, Dillon.
The jet stream.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify the following by giving an answer beginning with the letter S. For 5 points, name of either of the 2 times in the year when the sun is at its greatest distance from the celestial equator.
Solstice.
Yes.
For 10 points, the dog star.
Canis Majoris?
Do you know anything?
No answer.
Okay, Brandon High.
Will you repeat the question?
I'm
Yeah,
not
she
able to.
can. I don't know. Solaris.
No answer as well.
Okay, it's Sirius. For 15 points, give the full name of the German Jewish immigrant who developed blue jeans, known popularly as Levi's.
East Rankin, Dillon.
Levi Strauss.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following concerning Poland. For 5 points, only Polish city with more than 1 million people.
Probably.
Warsaw.
Yes.
For 10 points, sea on which Poland borders.
Baltic Sea.
Yes.
For 15 points, what was the name of the largest death camp considered by Jews as the central symbol of the Nazi genocide against European Jews?
Auschwitz.
Yes.
For 20 points, Poland's basic monetary unit.
Sure.
Slotty.
No.
Say it one more time.
Slotty.
Yes.
It was correct. Okay. I could tell that was the correct answer. All right, and that is the end of round 2. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. At the end of round 2, the score is East Rankin Academy 220, Brandon High School 45. Let's move on to round 3. We'll start with a toss-up for 10 points. In 2013, the final spire was added to the World Trade Center site, giving it a total height of how many feet?
Brandon High, Owen.
1,776.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. In terms of area, New Jersey is the United States' 5th smallest state. One at a time, name the 4 states smaller than New Jersey for 5 points.
Rhode Island,
Yes.
For 10 points.
Delaware,
Yes.
For 15 points.
Connecticut,
Yes.
And for 20 points.
Massachusetts.
New Hampshire,
No.
East Rankin.
Vermont.
No.
It was Hawaii. It's another 10-point toss-up. What family had governors of Arkansas, New York,
Brandon High, Lindsay.
Clinton,
No.
and West Virginia?
East Rankin, Will.
Rockefeller?
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify the country in which each of the following was assassinated. For 5 points, Mahatma Gandhi, killed by a Hindu nationalist on January 30, 1948.
India.
Yes.
For 10 points, Anwar el-Sadat, assassinated by Islamic fundamentalists on October 6, 1981.
Was he Egyptian?
Yeah, I think Egypt.
Yes.
For 15 points, King Faisal, murdered by his nephew on March 25, 1975.
Saudi Arabia. Huh? Saudi Arabia. I think it's like Jordan. Yeah.
Jordan.
No.
No. Brandon High.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
And we go back to a toss-up for 10 points. Who is the current U.S. Secretary of State?
East Rankin, Will.
Anthony Blinken.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Name either of the current U.S. senators from these states. For 5 points, Vermont.
Sanders.
Sanders.
Yes.
For 10 points, California.
Padilla.
Padilla.
Yes.
For 15 points, Tennessee.
Blackburn.
Blackburn.
Yes.
And for 20 points, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Menendez.
Menendez.
Yes.
And we go back to a toss-up for 10 points. It's a math question. If A is the point 1, 2 and B is the point -3, 8, what is the slope of line AB?
East Rankin, Elijah.
-3/2. -3/2.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following pairs. For 5 points, only 2 words or sounds that the Roadrunner says in movies.
Beep, beep.
Beep beep.
Yep.
For 10 points, only 2 books in the non-apocryphal Bible that have women's names as their titles.
No, that's not a book, is it?
Yeah, it is. Ruth and Esther.
Yes.
Oh, wait,
For 15 points, only 2 U.S. vice presidents to resign that office.
Agnew.
yeah, it's Clinton. George Clinton and Agnew.
Clinton and Agnew. Clinton and Agnew.
No.
Oh, wait, no,
Brandon High. We need an answer.
Agnew and Madison.
No.
It was Calhoun and Agnew. We're back to a toss-up for 5 points. Name the state whose town of Leadville, nicknamed Cloud City, claims to be the highest incorporated city in the U.S.
East Rankin, Dillon.
Colorado.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following concerning insects. For 5 points, cellulose-eating insect that has long been known, although incorrectly, as a white ant.
Termite, yeah.
Termite.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify the dung beetle considered by the ancient Egyptians to be the symbol of immortality because it would periodically reproduce in great numbers in the Nile mud.
Scarab.
Yes.
For 15 points, broad-headed winged insects, sometimes called locust, that in some varieties take 13 years or 17 years to develop, depending on where they live.
Cicada.
Yes.
For 20 points, insects from which formic acid was originally obtained.
Beetle. Are you sure?
Ants.
Yes.
And that concludes the end of round 3. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. At the end of round 3, the score is East Rankin Academy, 385, Brandon High School, 100. Now we move into the 4th and final round of the competition. For 5 points, identify the bird of prey whose name has come to mean a cheater, a swindler, an advocate.
Brandon High, Owen.
Hawk.
Yes.
For 10 points, which useful product is made from the fusion of inexpensive raw materials such as silica or silicon dioxide, soda or sodium carbonate, and lime or calcium oxide?
East Rankin, Elijah.
Plastic.
No. Brandon High,
Styrofoam.
Harvard.
Styrofoam.
No.
It's glass. It's a toss-up for 20 points. Identify the small fortified island known as the Rock at the entrance to Manila Bay.
Brandon High, Owen.
Baton. No.
No.
Opposite the tip of the Bataan Peninsula in the Philippines.
East Rankin, Will.
Corregidor.
Yes.
For 10 points, with which freshly killed animals did Luigi Galvani experiment and demonstrate contractions?
Brandon High, Lindsay.
Frogs.
Yes.
For 10 points, which one of the following bases is used as a medicinal antacid? Ammonia, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, or magnesium hydroxide?
Brendan High, Lindsay.
Magnesium hydroxide.
Yes.
For 10 points, which adjective, based on the Greek root for star, describes something so large that it may be beyond comprehension?
East Rankin, Elijah.
Cosmic.
No.
Astronomical.
Yes.
For 5 points, when ancient Rome became an empire, which language did it spread throughout southern and western Europe?
East Rankin, Will.
Greek.
No. Brandon, Owen.
Latin.
Yes.
It's a math question for 10 points. If the cost of printing 150 programs is $200, how many will have to be sold at $3 per program to make a profit of $160?
East Rankin, Dylan.
120.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify the animal, a bird that feeds mainly on carrion, whose name has come to mean any greedy and unscrupulous person.
Brandon, Owen.
Vulture.
Yes.
For 15 points, for his book Holes, Louis Satcher won the 1999 medal presented annually to the best children's book of the year.
East Rankin, Barron.
Newberry Medal of Honor.
Yes.
For 10 points, previous Governor Zell Miller of Georgia gave each newborn the music album Build Your Baby's Brain Through the Power of Music. Identify the Austrian composer.
East Rankin, Barron.
Mozart.
Yes.
For 10 points, after 18 months, 117 witnesses, and a cost of over $525,000, Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were convicted on federal charges for what crime?
East Rankin, Will.
The Oklahoma City bombing.
Yes.
For 15 points, which Italian word beginning with the letter A designates a craftsman, that is, a worker in...
Brandon, Owen.
Artisan.
Yes.
For 10 points, in which century did the Roman Empire collapse following the Visigoths?
East Rankin, Will.
5th.
Yes.
For 10 points, which widespread genetic disease is often called 65 roses by the children afflicted with it because the name is often too difficult for them to pronounce?
Brendan High, Lindsay.
Fluorosi.
No.
Time. It's cystic fibrosis. For 15 points, name the Spanish artist whose The Persistence of Memory.
East Rankin, Barron.
Dolly.
Yes.
For 10 points, name the crystalline carbohydrate found in abnormally low levels in the blood in a condition called hypoglycemia.
Brandon, Lindsay.
Glucose.
Yes.
For 10 points, name the food crop whose cost spiked in 2007 in part because of increased U.S. production of ethanol from it, causing...
Brendan High, Owen.
Corn.
Yes.
For 10 points, what is the name of the official residence in London of Queen Elizabeth II?
East Rankin, Will.
Buckingham Palace.
Yes.
For 20 points, identify the Danish astronomer who on November 11, 1572, made possibly his most notable discovery when he sighted an exploding star or supernova, helping dispel the ancient idea that no change in the heavens could occur beyond the moon's orbit.
Brandon, Owen.
Tycho Brahe.
Yes.
It's a math question for 10 points. The expression sine x over quantity 1 minus cosine squared x can be reduced to which single trig?
East Rankin, Will.
Cosecant.
Yes.
And that is the end of round 4 and the end of this match. We'll be back in a moment with a final score. At the end of round 4, the final score is East Rankin Academy 495, Brandon High 205. East Rankin Academy is this year's Mississippi Academic Competition 2020-2021 tournament champion. And here to present the championship plaque to East Rankin Academy is Associate Provost and our Graduate Dean, Dr. Debbie Norris.
Congratulations to both teams for a fine performance today, and in particular, congratulations to the winners of our 2021 academic competition from East Rankin Academy.